today we're looking at a philosophy that claims winning isn't just a result, it's a discipline. We are unpacking the source material from Winning, book by Jack Welch and his wife, Susie Welch.
Jack Welch. I mean, the legendary CEO of GE, the guy who basically invented the modern CEO archetype.
Yeah.
And definitely did not believe in participation trophies.
Not even a little bit. He turned management into this very candid, sometimes controversial, but always rigorously logical system.
So our mission for this deep dive is, I think, pretty clear. We want to take these big corporate ideas.
Things like the 20-70-10 rule.
Right, that infamous rule. And this idea of radical candor, and figure out what they actually mean. And more importantly, how do you apply this stuff to your own career?
Yeah, because he frames this book as a no-nonsense manual for success, whether you're, running a huge company or just trying to get a promotion.
Okay, so where do we start?
I think the best place to start is where most companies actually fail, the foundation. If you walk into almost any corporate lobby, what's the first thing you see on the wall?
Oh, nice but vague words. Integrity, quality.
Respecting the customer.
Right.
And Welch calls all that hot air. He says most mission statements are totally useless because they're designed to make everyone happy. They're compromises.
So what does a real mission look like for him? Because every company thinks they have one.
A true mission answers exactly one question. How do we intend to win? That's it.
Not what makes us feel good.
No. It's a blunt declaration of how we will succeed right now. It forces you to choose where to put your money and, more importantly, your people.
The sources mention a really good example here, and it's one you wouldn't expect, Ben & Jerry's.
Right. The polar opposite of a Jack Welch company, you'd think.
Exactly.
But he uses them to prove a point about clarity. Ben & Jerry's has this deep social mission, right? It's rooted in those hippie counterculture values.
Sure.
But even they have to include profitable growth in their mission. And why? Because without the profit, the social mission just collapses.
You can't save the world if you can't pay the light bill.
That's it. So at GE, the mission wasn't some fuzzy slogan like bring good things to life.
It was much more specific.
Much more concrete it was. Be number one or number two in every market we serve. And here's the kicker. If a division couldn't do that.
Fix it, sell it, or close it.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't leave a lot of room for ambiguity, does it?
And that's the whole point. The mission gives you clarity. But a mission is useless without values.
And this is where I think people get cynical. Because values usually just means be nice to each other.
Right. Don't be a jerk is the subtext.
Yeah.
Welch argues values are actually marching orders. They are the specific behaviors that get rewarded or punished.
Okay, an example.
If your mission is to be the most honest company in the world, but you promote the guy who cooks the books because he hit his numbers,
then your values are fake.
They're a lie.
Yeah.
And the sources bring up Enron and Arthur Andersen as the cautionary tales.
The classic examples.
They collapsed because their actual behaviors, their lived values, completely fractured from their stated mission. Values have to be real, which means you have to fire people who don't follow them, even if they're making you money.
Which leads us right into what Welch calls the dirty little secret of business.
Candor.
Candor.
Yeah.
Just telling the truth. Why is that a secret?
Because almost nobody actually does it. He believes that a lack of candor is the silent killer of ideas. We sit in meetings, we nod, we smile, we hold back what we really think.
Oh, we've all been in that meeting. The real meeting happens after the meeting, in the hallway.
Exactly. And Welch asks, why do we do that? It's socialization. From the time you're a kid, you're taught to soften bad news, don't hurt feelings, avoid conflict.
Sure.
But there's this fascinating insight where the material brings up the philosopher Immanuel Kant.
Kant in a business book. Okay, I didn't see that coming.
It's a great connection. Kant argued that avoiding candor is actually self-interest in disguise.
Wait, unpack that for me. If I don't tell you your idea is terrible, I think I'm being nice to you.
No. You're protecting yourself. You're avoiding the awkward conversation to keep your own comfort intact.
So I'm not protecting you from the truth. I'm protecting my own peace of mind.
Exactly. And in business, that lack of candor slows everything down. It creates bureaucracy, it wastes money.
You just end up writing 40-page reports to justify a bad idea instead of just saying, this won't work. Okay, speaking of saying things people might not want to hear, we have to talk about the most controversial part of this whole philosophy. The part that gets people really riled up.
The 20-70-10 rule.
Differentiation.
This is the one. Yeah. Some people call it cruel, Darwinian. Welch just calls it fair.
So break it down for us. What is the 20-70-10?
It's a rigorous method for sorting your people. He says every year you have to separate your employees into 3 groups based on performance.
Top 20%? Middle 70, bottom 10.
Right. And you treat them all differently.
Drastically differently.
The top 20 are your stars. You shower them with rewards, money, recognition, the best projects. They're your engine.
Okay.
The middle 70 are the backbone. They do most of the work. Your job as a manager is to train them, develop them, help them move into that top 20.
And the bottom 10?
They have to go?
They have to go.
Okay.
Every single year. Okay, but I have to push back on that. I mean, that sounds incredibly harsh.
It is intense. I get it. The criticism is totally valid.
You're firing 10% of your workforce annually just because they fall at the bottom of a curve. It feels like you're treating people like spare parts.
And people argue it creates a backstabbing culture, for sure. But, and this is the interesting part, Welch's defense is that keeping the bottom 10 is actually the cruelest thing you can do.
How is firing someone the nice option? That just sounds like corporate spin.
He frames it around time and truth. If you don't tell them they're failing, you create what he calls a dead man walking.
A dead man walking.
You let them stay for 5-10 years because you don't want that awkward conversation. They get older, their skills get stale because you aren't investing in them.
And then a recession hits.
Exactly. Or a new boss comes in and they get fired in their 50s with no warning and no preparation.
Okay, I do see the logic there. That is a terrifying image.
Welch says if you tell them early, hey, this isn't working, you're in the bottom 10, they have time. They can go find a job somewhere else where they might be in the top 20. It gives them clarity.
Like grades in school.
He uses that exact analogy. You always wanted to know where you stood, right? Even if it was a C.
Absolutely. I wanted to know it was a C so I could fix it.
And adults crave that same clarity, but most managers are just too cowardly to give it.
But this whole system only works if people feel like they can speak up, right? If I'm in that middle 70, I can't just feel like a number. I have to feel like I matter.
And that brings us to the concepts of voice and dignity. Welch believed every single brain needs to be in the game. And to make this happen, he created something called workout.
Workout. It sounds like a gym class, but it was basically a massive town hall meeting.
A town hall with teeth. This wasn't a suggestion box. They'd gather groups of 30 to 100 people to tackle specific problems. But here's the key.
What's the mechanism?
The managers had to be in the room, and they had to give a yes or no decision to every proposal on the spot.
On the spot. No, let me get back to you.
Oh, we'll put a committee on it. Yes or no, right there. It completely shattered the boss knows best mentality because the boss was on the spot in front of everybody.
If the workers had a better idea, the boss had to either approve it or look like an idiot explaining why not.
Precisely. There's this amazing quote in the source material from a veteran worker after one of these sessions.
I think I remember this one.
He said, "For 25 years, you've been paying for my hands. Now you can have my brain, and it won't cost you a thing."
Wow. That is the whole essence of it right there.
You just unlock all this brain power by listening and acting.
So we've got the structure. Let's talk about the people running it. Leadership. Welch says when you become a leader, the whole definition of success just flips on its head.
It's a fundamental shift, and it's where most new managers, I think, really fail.
How so?
Well, before you're a leader, success is all about you, your performance, your grades, your sales numbers. The moment you become a leader, success is about them.
It's about growing your team.
Exactly. If they win, you win. You're basically a gardener now, not the prize-winning flower.
And to get a winning team, you have to hire the right people. Welch had some really specific filters for this.
Oh, yeah, the resume was secondary. He had 3 acid tests he ran people through first, which were, first, integrity, just basic truth-telling. Second, intelligence, but not just IQ. He meant curiosity. Do they ask questions?
And the third one?
Maturity.
As in age.
No, emotional maturity. Can you handle stress? Can you handle a setback without falling apart? Can you celebrate someone else's success?
Okay, so if they pass those 3 filters, then he uses this framework, 4E plus P.
Right. The classic Welch formula. Energy, energize, edge, execute, and passion.
Let's run through those quickly. Energy is obvious.
Yeah, vitality. Energize is the ability to spark others, not drain them.
And then edge. That's the one that always sounds a bit vague.
It's not about being mean or, edgy. Edge is the courage to make the tough yes or no call, the opposite of just drifting.
Got it. And execute.
Just getting it done. Action over theory.
Finally, passion.
Authentic love for the work. You can't fake it.
It sounds simple, but think about how many people you work with who actually have all 5 of those. It's a really high bar.
It is. But that's how you build a winning team. You don't settle.
Okay, let's pivot a bit to the how strategy. People make strategy so complicated.
3-ring binders collecting dust.
Exactly. Welch hated all that.
He thought strategy was not some complex science. It was about finding the big aha.
The big aha.
One smart, practical insight that gives you an advantage, and then you execute the hell out of it. His method was the 5 slides.
Right.
If you can't explain your strategy in 5 slides, what's the playing field? What's the competition doing? What are we doing? What's around the corner? And what's our winning move? Then you don't have a strategy, you have a wish list.
I love that simplicity. But there's another tool mentioned in the sources that GE made famous, Six Sigma. Now, usually, this is where people's eyes glaze over.
It does sound like math class. It's technically a complex statistical method to eliminate defects. But here's the nugget that matters for us.
Okay.
Welch didn't just use it for quality control. He used it as a leadership training ground.
How does statistics teach you leadership?
Because it forces you to prove your case with data. It teaches discipline. It teaches you to strip away emotion and find the root cause of a problem. He wouldn't promote anyone to upper management unless they had Six Sigma training.
So it's less about the math and more about the mindset.
It's about teaching them how to think.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, I want to switch gears now to the listener, the individual. Because this book isn't just for CEOs.
No, not at all. There's a whole section on just managing yourself. And his advice on finding the right job really stood out to me.
How do you know if it's the right job? Is it just the money?
It's not the money and it's not the title. Welch says to look for signals. And the first one is, do you like the people? And by that he means, can you be yourself?
Do you have to wear a mask?
Yes. If you have to put on a mask every day, if you have to hide who you are to fit into the culture, get out. That is just unsustainable.
What about having a bad boss? This is a huge one for people.
And here comes the tough love. The number one rule Welch gives is, do not allow yourself to become a victim.
That is so much easier said than done. If my boss is a nightmare, I feel like a victim.
Of course. But feeling like a victim drains your energy. Welch says you have to analyze the boss. Why are they bad? Are they what he calls a type 4? Someone who gets great results but has terrible values?
The effective jerk.
The effective jerk, we all know one. Companies keep them because they make money.
Right.
So if you're working for one, you have a choice. Weigh the trade-offs. If the experience or the money is worth it, then stay. But stop complaining. If it's not, plan your exit. But don't just sit there and let them destroy your confidence. You have agency.
Speaking of trade-offs, work-life balance. This is a hot topic, and Welch's view on this might ruffle some feathers today.
It's pretty direct. He talks about the boss's reality. Your boss wants you to be happy, sure. But mostly, your boss wants your productivity. They want 150% of you because they are terrified of the competition.
So balance isn't something the company just gives you.
No, he views it as a chit system.
A chit system, like casino chips.
Basically, you earn flexibility through high performance. It is not an entitlement. If you're a top 20 performer, you have a big stack of chits. You can ask for flexible hours, time off, whatever. They'll probably give it to you because they need you.
But if you're in the middle or the bottom,
you don't have the leverage. It's transactional. And look, modern HR theory might disagree, but Welch would argue it's just honest.
And he also says something about keep your head where your feet are.
Yes, meaning when you're at work, work. Don't worry about home. When you're at home, be home. Don't be checking your email.
So it's up to you to set the boundaries.
The company won't do it for you.
That seems to be the theme here. Individual responsibility. And it seems like candor is the solution to almost every problem in the book.
It really is, including the biggest problem of all, crisis.
Let's touch on this before we wrap.
Okay.
Because whether it's a career crisis or a company crisis, things go wrong.
They always do. Welch has 5 rules for this. But the first 2 are the ones you need to tattoo on your arm.
Okay.
1, assume the problem is worse than it looks.
So pessimism as a strategy.
Realism. In the beginning, you never see the whole iceberg. And 2, assume there are no secrets. The truth will get out. So don't even try to hide it.
That's candor again. If you try to spin it, you're dead.
Completely. And he says crises always end with change. Processes change and people change. Real leaders use a crisis to clean house and get smarter.
And getting smarter often means managing that change. The source material mentions weeding out resistors. This sounds like another purge.
This is crucial for any transformation. If you're trying to move the business in a new direction, you cannot keep people who are quietly fighting you, even if they're talented.
They poison the well.
They poison the well. You have to remove them to protect the new direction. He says it's better to have a less talented believer than a genius terrorist.
A genius terrorist. I
Yeah.
like that image. So bringing this all together, we've covered mission, candor, differentiation, leadership.
Strategy, Six Sigma, managing your own path. It's a comprehensive system.
It is. But if you had to synthesize it, what is the core message of winning?
The core message is that winning requires making choices. Clear and often very tough choices about people, resources, and behavior. It just rejects ambiguity. It rejects fake politeness.
And while things like the 20-70-10 rule or radical candor feel uncomfortable,
Welch would argue they're actually the most respectful way to treat adults. Treating people like children, hiding the truth, keeping them in jobs they aren't good at, that is the real disrespect.
it's a fascinating worldview. And there's one final thought from Welch about his legacy. He hated that word, didn't he?
He did. He thought it sounded like the end. But he said if he had to be remembered for something, he hoped it was for helping people see that leadership is about growing others.
It's about unlocking potential.
Yes.
Which brings us to a final provocative question for you, listening right now. Think about your team, or even your own contribution. Remember that veteran worker.
You've been paying for my hands, now you can have my brain.
Ask yourself, are you currently paying for hands, or are you getting brains?
Because the difference between the two is usually just a matter of whether you're brave enough to listen to the truth.
Something to chew on. Thanks for diving in with us.
Pleasure as always.
We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.